Welcome to the Berkeley Climate Change Network podcast. I'm Bruce Reardon. I'm the director of the BCCN. And today we're going to spotlight a very cool program here on campus, Berkeley's somewhat new, fabulous Master of Climate Solutions program. And our special guests to talk about the MCS are Jason Kibbey, the executive director of the Master of Climate Solutions program, and Dara O'Rourke, the faculty director. Welcome, Dara, and welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Bruce.
let's
Good to be
start
here.
just a little bit about you before we get into the program. Dara, start with you. How did you get to Berkeley here?
Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Bruce. I am currently an associate professor in the Department of Environmental Science, Policy, and Management, and I've been in ESPM for almost 20 years. But I first came to Berkeley as a graduate student, and I was attracted to the world famous Energy and Resources Group. And its really unique positioning as one of the only programs in the world, truly interdisciplinary, really focused on taking the science of energy and climate seriously and working on solutions and advancing solutions. I really was first attracted to Berkeley by ERG's commitment and connection between science, engineering, advocacy, policy, and have continued that since then, and to this very new, exciting program, which I think builds on and is very complementary and synergistic to the ERG program.
Great. Jason, how about you?
Let's see. For me, Berkeley is a continuous process of coming home, sort of like the Odyssey. I'm a third generation Cal grad. Both my brothers, my parents attended Cal, and I never thought I would. I grew up in Berkeley. I never quite thought I would go back to Cal, but when I actually visited with fresh set of eyes, I thought this is the place for me. And then several years later, I also thought I didn't wasn't imagining I would go back, and ended up coming back for business school at Berkeley. And then a couple of years ago, while I was living in France, I saw the posting for this job to build and launch the Masters of Climate Solutions program, and I thought this is really the homecoming that I've wanted for a long time, to come back and build something that I believe in and work with great faculty, and create a new type of education that I think was really missing in the marketplace.
Fabulous. So you left France for Berkeley, right?
It to come
Okay.
home. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you both, and thanks for taking some time with us today to talk about the MCS. So, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how the program works and who it's aimed at and all, let's talk about why. Why did RCNR and Berkeley, the three departments, ESPM and Energy and Resources Group and Agricultural Economics, why did they start the Master of Climate Solutions program?
Should I take that one, Jason?
Yeah. Why don't you?
Yeah, so this, as with many things, is kind of an overnight success that has taken 5 or 6 years in the making. And this really goes back to, I think, really important foresight and commitment from both Dean Ackerley in the College of Natural Resources and Dean Harrison in the business school. And then our early faculty leads, Dr. James Salee, who is a professor in Haas, and Dr. Jonas Meckling, who's a professor in ESPM. But really, from 2020, the first really thinking about how do we build a new program that's really centered on climate solutions, not on debating climate science or many other amazing strengths at Berkeley, which Bruce, you're at the center of, but really responding to what we thought was an urgent need in the world. Climate science is clear, green technologies are advancing, we know many of the solutions, but many of our most important transitions are being slowed, blocked, or captured around the world by incumbent actors. So the impetus was, how do we train a generation of leaders to evaluate climate opportunities, understand the barriers, and then go implement solutions. This is really about driving forward these solutions that we know 75-80% of them, and really building the toolkit for people in business, in government, in NGOs to really take the science and engineering seriously, to understand the solutions in energy, transportation, building materials, food, ag, etc., but then really to go out and drive the transitions that we all know we need, and to take on incumbent actors and to really advance equitable and rapid solutions in climate change.
Great. So, Jason, want to add anything there, kind of on the origin story and all?
I would maybe just add also that there really was a gap in the education for doers. And I think what we saw is that there's an emerging generation, many of them have come to Berkeley for this reason, of people that want to get their hands dirty, essentially working on climate. And and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's in their job title or that's what they are paid to do every day, but they really want these tool sets to make a change in perhaps the greatest challenge that humanity has faced. And I think when you look across the education sort of offerings for this, that a lot of people like myself and a prior generation went to business school because we were looking to become good generalists. And still, I had worked in environmental advocacy, but I wanted to create and grow new organizations and institutions to work on climate, to work on conservation and other impact areas. And yet there were also a lot of educational opportunities than sort of general environmental management degrees. But what was missing was those people that weren't going to be either a general management sort of professional, or they weren't going to be maybe someone who's doing research or just providing background or expertise on general impact, but those that were going to get their hands dirty every day. And that's what we really want to help create with our students, is really give them the tool set to go out and provide a fresh perspective and an ability to roll up their sleeves and get to work. And I think we're already seeing some of the fruits of this when our students enter case competitions at business schools around the world. They're beating everyone else, and so we're proud of the way that they're already starting to show up. And we're really proud of how many people are attracted to this kind of new education. For a brand new program, we just had a huge amount of interest from applicants all around the world from diverse backgrounds. And we really wanted to recreate the system that works on climate action in the room with our students. And as a result, we have people from NGOs, people from startups, people from finance, people from policy, all working together and bringing this experience that they've had out into the world, into the classroom, to really upskill their own abilities and be great climate solutions leaders.
Great. Thank you. That's great to set the scene. So let's talk about the program itself now. If you're a student interested in the program or faculty interested in being part of the program, what does it look like? How many people do you have? What are you in? Are you in the second year now of running the program?
We're in our very first, so we're in our second semester,
Okay, got
to
it.
give a sense of how fast we are. And so we are currently 40 students. We actually had intended to start this year with only about 35, 30 to 35, but we had such strong yield that we exceeded what we thought we were going to do in this first year. And 10 of those students are joint students with the Haas. They are MBA students. 30 of our students are standalone MCS students. And so the students take a pretty heavy course load of core curriculum courses. Dara teaches one of them, climate transitions. I teach other courses such as the capstone and the colloquium. And what we try to do is give students this sort of well-rounded tool set across 7 different core courses in climate solutions. And we've pulled from faculty, largely from the College of Natural Resources, but a little bit from the business school as well, that are teaching. And we are, I would say, this year just getting our feet under us. And so we haven't sort of spread our wings to open a lot of our resources and our courses to the rest of the campus. That's something that we're looking and doing more of in the future. We're starting to open up some of our colloquium, our speaker series to more folks in other programs, but we're looking to spread that over time as we sort of work out the kinks and get through our first year. I think we want to be more open to the Berkeley community, and we'll probably be expanding the courses that we offer in electives beyond just the core that we have today. I know, Dara, you probably have more to add as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me add to that. So this really we are in an early learning phase. This is our first year, but we have launched with an amazing set of faculty who have all basically built brand new courses that really are focused on this combination of technical skills plus political acumen. So we've got a climate science course, climate solution pathways, a technologies course, a carbon accounting and life cycle analysis course, economic insights for climate solutions, data sciences, politics and policy. Really, again, going back to understanding both the opportunities and the barriers to the implementation of these solutions. Are the barriers finance? Are they economics? Are they political? Are they NIMBYs in the Berkeley Hills? What's blocking the progression of these? And so, this first round of courses, let me just add, really, these are all new courses. We're doing active learning, often case focused, with a lot of real world examples and getting the students out in the world. As Jason has said, we've sent our students out and they've won a number of case competitions already in their first year. They're doing capstone programs, which Jason should talk more about. It really is a kind of active, engaged learning where we're really trying to combine systems thinking with technical skills, with an understanding of the political economy, of what is blocking or can empower and speed up these transitions. So far, really, it's been phenomenal. The I'm sitting in the back row of one of the classes this semester, which is just kind of blowing my mind. We're rethinking how we teach data sciences for climate solutions, and we have
Hmm.
Carl Buttiger is really bringing these students not to a like a 10-year-old learn Python kind of class, but where's the world at on applying the latest cutting edge tools, including LLMs to data science for advancing climate solutions. So everything is really around solutions and problems and cases. And so the curriculum for me has been incredibly exciting as one of the faculties in it. It is, of course, hard work to teach a class and hard to get faculty to join teaching a new class. But we really have this amazing group that I think is producing something quite new and unique to Jason's point. There's no other program in the country that
Mhm.
is trying to do what we're doing in this way with all, you know, senior faculty really engaging this in serious ways.
In talking with your students, your what, 40 this first year, where do you hear they want to go? In terms of getting out into I mean, you're already putting them in the real world, not just on campus, but after they leave the program, where are they going, do you think?
Uh, all over the place. I think, one place that they're probably not going right now is the federal government, but other than that, they are pretty much going everywhere. I think we have people that are interested in working in essentially local environmental justice organizations. We have people that are interested in work, the range goes from, local EJ organizations to national venture capital firms, and we have kind of everything in between. We have people that will probably go back to government. If our capstones or any and people that may go into corporate, that will go into investing, that will work for startups, really all over the place. I think we are seeing some changing market dynamics right now in terms of what jobs are available.
Mhm.
But what we are seeing is that students, there are still lots of opportunities in this transition, and though it may have slowed down in the last year, I always try to remind our students that we had the most rapid acceleration of climate opportunities probably in the history of the world for jobs between 2021, 22, and 23, 4.
Mhm.
And that, that slowed down a little bit, but we're still seeing opportunities everywhere. And we deliberately picked a very diverse group of students that came from a lot of places, and we see that a lot of them are transitioning and are going back to some of those types of places and are going to new places as well. So it's really all over, and I would say with maybe trend wise, a little less federal government, a little less corporate sustainability, a little more startup, a little more finance and advocacy.
You mentioned a couple things I want to follow up on the capstone projects and also this MCS MBA combo that you mentioned at the beginning. Talk a little about both of those.
Sure. Why don't I take the capstone, and Dara, maybe you can talk about the MBA combination. So for the capstones, we really wanted our students to first experience how do you connect with and build a relationship with an organization such that they may want to do some work with you. And so our students sourced most of these projects by themselves. So they went out and talked to organizations that they admired, that they may want to work for afterwards, that they've always been intrigued by, and tried to explore potential partnerships with them, where the students would be engaged on essentially a 10 to 12 week project. Usually it's some challenge in climate solutions that the capstone sponsor is struggling with or trying to get a deeper understanding of, or really could just use some additional help with. And then the students are essentially tasked with coming up with using the frameworks that they've learned in their first semester, everything from techno-economic analysis to carbon accounting to stakeholder analysis, using those to come back with a recommendation about what their sponsor should do. And so we're seeing a lot of really interesting organizations. We have one group of students that is working with Patagonia Provisions on reimagining food systems and deeper research with that at a fundamental level. We have another student that's working with VF Corp on trying to understand what are the impacts of extended producer responsibility. We have other students that are working, three students that are working with Natural Resources Defense Council on various California state priorities and emerging policies and changing things that are changing right now in the landscape. Those are just a few of the examples. We have also a number of people working with startups, with impact investors, with venture capitalists. So it's again representative of this diverse group of students. But we're really pleased with this first group of potential capstones. It's all real world impact. They're getting hands-on direct experience with those that are actually in the field right now and struggling with some of the biggest issues of our time, like reimagining the food system is not a small task. And we have three students that are working on that directly with the CEO of Patagonia Provisions.
Fabulous. Dara?
Yeah, and I'm building on the MBA
Hmm.
MCS joint program. This really, as we all know, climate change is obviously an existential threat, but also an unbelievable business opportunity that we are going to have to basically rebuild entirely our industrial systems globally, our energy systems, our transportation, our buildings, our materials, our food and ag. And so we have a really interesting partnership with the business school, and again, at the level of the dean's support, where we see this both the threat and the opportunity, and that we need to not just be figuring out how do we more rapidly deprecate fossil fuels, but also how do we grow the new businesses and the new business models and the new startups that will displace and disrupt the old incumbents that are blocking the transition. So super exciting. I think we have a group that really is looking at the role of business as a positive force for driving these transitions, supporting these transitions, scaling, driving down the cost, the things that we've seen so effective in solar and wind and batteries, we now need to do to 10 other things. And so really interesting combination. And again, with Jim Salee, who's our faculty director up at the business school, really tight partnership and a really great starting base where we're starting with 10 MBA MCS joint, and then we'll grow that program also and see where it goes. And Jason may want to talk about this, but we've seen huge external demand outside of Berkeley for us adding additional educational opportunities for people that are in the business world that don't have the ability to come back to campus for a year or two, but really also want to learn these skills and tools and apply them in their active work that they're doing around the world.
So what are you thinking in that regard? What's your idea so far?
So every time I do an info session, I probably have three people on the call that says sounds like the program of my dreams, but I am working full time with kids. I can't necessarily take a year off to be a student. And so I think we are exploring right now, and all of this is still preliminary, is what are potentially either part-time options for potentially a slightly different version of the program, what are potentially some short-term or executive education options.
Mhm.
But I think what we're seeing is there's just a huge amount of demand to become a climate solutions professional, and what are these tool sets that they can bring into their work right now. And I think other programs at Berkeley and other programs around the world have done a great job in figuring out how do you make offerings for those folks that aren't in the position to do a traditional 1 year, in-person residential master's degree. And so I think we are looking right now to see how we can meet that need and that demand from the world.
Great.
Yeah, one thing just building on that, Bruce, is we absolutely are 100% focused on the on-campus experience right now, and we really view for this first 40 students that Berkeley is this kind of platform for learning. It's not that we're trying to teach them the right answer right now or the learn this Python code and you can do this thing. It really is come to Berkeley, and as you are the center of, Bruce, there's this unbelievable ecosystem on the Berkeley campus of world experts in every part of what we've been talking about the science, the deep technology, the policy, the health, what we used to call co-benefits, which are so central to all of this,
Mhm.
is the Berkeley campus. So we really are trying to structure the program where Berkeley is a platform for each of these students to get what they want and then also to build the network off campus and to leverage what we're doing both to get people out into capstones to being world experts onto campus and then ultimately to figure out how do we leverage our impact globally with this program. So it really is Berkeley is the center of it. Berkeley is a platform for learning, and then where do we go?
Where do you see, go ahead, Jason.
I would just add to that. I think this has been one of my surprises is coming in is that one of our great problem to have challenges is our students come in and the number of climate change related course offerings at Berkeley is simply stunning.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you add all of the things that are happening outside of the classroom, from things that are happening at the Baker Center to things that are, excuse me, I have a barking dog as the mail arrived. Um, so, so
It's okay. We can take the dog.
okay. So anyhow, what we are finding is just that it is a stunning amount of offerings, and that has been one of the biggest challenges is how do we actually give that to our students when they're just here for 1 year?
Okay, great. So, la almost last question, kind of tied to that. Where do you see the program in 5 years? I know you're only in the first year, but you've been at this a while to put it together. And you've talked about some of this already, but give us a little better picture too, looking ahead.
I'll go first on that. And I mean, really for I think the core faculty in this program, Bruce, we really are committed to rapid learning in this early phase, and to kind of humility that we don't really know in 3 or 5 years where the world is going to be at and what the key skills that NGOs and governments and businesses are going to need from our students. And so this really is a commitment to fast learning and experimentation and believing that we're going to you know, train a first cohort. They're going to go out, work in amazing jobs. They'll send signals back to us. We'll get the next cohort. They'll send signals back to us. So I think really our commitment is that this program is going to get better and better every year for the next 5 years. And we have no idea what the world is going to look like in 5 years. And that's kind of the key thing is the program really teaches people how to learn fast under disruptive environments. Like that's the world that these people are going to go live in for the rest of their career
Yeah.
is constant, continual disruption,
Mhm.
climate disruption, economic disruption, geopolitical disruption. How do you learn and operate and drive forward a better world, more sustainable, more equitable systems under those conditions? And so that's really our commitment is to that continuous learning and to building a program that is strong and resilient and sustainable and connected on the Berkeley campus.
Jason, add to that.
I would just add, I think that we are really looking to build our core 1 year in-person residential program as kind of, this will be our foundation, this will be our marquee, and we want to build essentially a huge network of graduates that are making an impact shortly after graduating. That is really if I would say the mission of this program right now is to provide opportunities for our students to make meaningful contributions and meaningful impact in climate solutions early in their careers. And we want to see that happen. And we want to keep evolving this program so that the core of this does that every year and becomes a great contributor to the climate ecosystem, just the way that, say, the ERG program, if you look at the history of climate and energy and resources in the United States, it is a huge contributor to that ecosystem and the way that people think about it and the way that our leaders have actually thought about that. We'd like to see something similar with, in terms of similar types of contributions, with this program as well, with people going out and doing that, doing climate solutions out in the world and being great contributors to impact.
Fabulous. Very last question. Okay, students, faculty that are listening to this podcast and would like to learn more or engage with you about the program and possibly their fit with the program, how do they best work with you or engage with you?
I'd say first, feel free to reach out to myself or to Dara. And additionally, though, one important note about our program is because we are so committed in these early years to bringing the system in the room, to bringing people to the program who actually already have some experience. One of our requirements is 3 years of work experience. So if you're an undergrad and you're thinking about this program, maybe for your future, come talk to us. We'll help you talk about what are the kinds of jobs over the next years that would set you up to be a successful candidate here. And if you're an alum and or if you're, perhaps in another program and thinking about adding on to this, we'd be happy to talk to you.
Great. Dara?
No, I agree with all.
Okay. Is it 3 years of experience generally or in a climate related or energy related field or?
Just 3 years of professional experience
Got
is a requirement. And we have a lot of career switchers, people that are doing other things and have distinguished themselves in other careers. We have even people that have, sold companies and were going into retirement, but the climate crisis inspired them to create another chapter. So it's really anyone who has excelled and sort of differentiated themselves in their careers early on. We'd love to hear from them if they're committed to working on climate.
Right. So, thank you, Dara and Jason, and thank you all for listening. This has been our BCCN podcast on the new Master of Climate Solutions program here at Berkeley. I'm Bruce Reardon with the BCCN, and we will see you next time on the BCCN podcast. Thanks.